The self-regulating automatic diaphragm valve by Amanzi Flow Projects is a unique and successful regulating valve installed at numerous sites in Southern Africa. It is possibly the only self-regulating valve in the world that can regulate large flows in dirty water with a head loss of as low as half a meter. The diaphragm valve will regulate the discharge to a preset flow with varying upstream heads. The normal configuration is a downward-facing bend with water discharging onto a deflector plate supported and controlled by a flexible diaphragm. There are also installations where the diaphragm valve is upward-facing with a bottom floor entry. Control piping connects the diaphragm to the upstream water pressure and to a control float valve. The float valve controls the water level over a measuring weir to maintain the preset outflow. When the upstream water level is at its lowest, the diaphragm is deflated to open the diaphragm valve fully to discharge the maximum required flow set by the float valve. As the upstream water level rises, the discharge through the diaphragm valve increases slightly. The water level over the measuring weir rises slightly, which causes the float valve to close slightly. This increases pressure in the control pipe and the diaphragm, which responds by closing slowly to reduce the discharge to the required flow. As the water level increases further, so the float valve will close slightly to pressurize the diaphragm to close slightly in response to maintain the set discharge. This continues to the high water level upstream, where the diaphragm valve is then only slightly open to discharge the required flow set by the float valve for the required flow over the measuring weir. As the upstream water level recedes, so the float valve responds to the lower water level to reduce pressure in the diaphragm and cause the diaphragm valve to open slightly. This action continues as the water level reduces further, with the float valve responding to the reducing water level and regulating the diaphragm valve automatically to always maintain the required preset outflow. Note that the water discharges radially from the diaphragm into the concrete valve chamber. There is a considerable amount of turbulence and energy dissipation within the valve chamber. The float valve can be adjusted to vary the required outflows over the measuring weir. The diaphragm valve can also be closed manually. This unique and effective control valve has found applications in canal flow control, irrigation dam inlets, dam bottom discharges, reservoir level control, treatment works inflow control, and others. It is unique in that it can handle dirty sediment and debris-laden water with sizes up to 1.6 meter diameter and with minimum operating head of as low as half a meter.